all internet works now. And you experience foreboding and hallucination of what awaits you. And also that moment, it says your time has come for the great moving on. And like the same as the karma limbas, bardo prayers, there's specific kind of the saying, how it is that happened. And one is in these situations, great moving on. Like normally we move from one apartment to another apartment, or maybe from one house to other house, or maybe you are like moving one city to other city. Maybe you, bigger that, you move one country, another countries. That kind of the great, like a big in the life's moving. But now it's the great moving on. So you are moving from in this life and next life. And that moment, it's like how when can we do? Your family and friend gathered around you. Or I was like in this situation. But there is nothing they can do to delay your departure. Absolutely impossible to pay, impossible to argue, and impossible to fight. Cannot be escaped from this great moving on. We cannot say, I don't want to move on. Like maybe if you ask to me, can you show me, take example? Like day and night. Yesterday in Dharma City was very fantastic. Also today, good weather. I'm not sure these days. Maybe we are a little waiting for water, but generally nice weather. And in the evening, I was in the swimming pool, Dharma City swimming pool. There is noble sanghas. They are joking and drink tea, very nice strawberry fruits, and mocking, provoking each other. It's wonderful, like a Pure Land. Then it's like a kind of there's a great moving on. Sun is going to more in the east mountain. I said this, I don't want to go to tomorrow. I asked to them and to stay more and more. But sun is set, and weather is slowly cold. We try to more longer stay there, but impossible. Everybody says, let's go to sleep, go home, take hot tea. But it's like kind of impossible to stop this movement. And even it's like a kind of we cry, even we are says like begging, even we can just pay or say, son, if you are sad, we will kill you. Impossible. This is like kind of the natural process. Cannot. Same like this, maybe in this life, someone is want to stay more. Someone, of course, want to quickly to leave. But anyway, this is great moving on. Difficult to escape from this situation. Then you are going through the suffering of death by yourself alone. Who can to share? And also it's like before I kind of forgot to say. Once is myself, I have kind of really is one sick, and I was in Gothenburg in Sweden, and I need to go to Aarhus in Denmark. And one of our organizations bought the boat ticket. I was in the ferry, I think a little bigger than the ferry, quite a big boat. And not many people, but I'm still kind of very strange body. And then I sit in the front of the boat, weather is very good, sea is calm, sky, like everything blue. But I have a lot of hallucination. I don't know how I can to see them. Very, very bizarre. That I thought I'm surely going to die. Of course, I haven't got much money. When I arrive in the Jens place, we make course there's, I think, 1 week or something, 10 days. But luckily there's two, one is like 25 days. Last we make talk, 2 days we made talk. And then it's like this talk, I bought a lot of bread. And then anyway, maybe I heard some it helps. I asked to the Sangha to make a powder. They helped me make powder. And then I went in the forest. There's a lot of ant. You know, it's in Denmark, there's some strange restaurants, they eat a lot of live ant. And they come into in the Aarhus, some of these areas, to pick up ant. But so many ant. But anyway, they eat. I give bread them. And went also after the talk, we brought to there and offered talk. And then some have brought in the sea give. It's okay. And the last we made one talk, I did again. Oh, I went in the empty place, I gave, I say, next time no, it's the last. I'm never coming again, I say to the ant. Because in ants normally is very much feel to others. When you kind of make generosity, these kind of animals, you need to say, okay, you coming back or not coming back? I said, no, I'm not coming back. And then I went in the seaside. I put some talks in the sea. But certainly see this become very quiet. White and quiet. I thought, maybe I'm not going to die. And then afterwards, it's a kind of saved, getting better, disappeared hallucination, and totally recover until I may not died. And but really some death process start, this kind of approach is occurring. Then you can do, there's very strange kind of the hallucinations. And such a kind of the sufferings occurring. And of course, you cannot, he says, the bring, nothing. You are going through the suffering of the death by yourself, all alone. And also I have very strange experience, I'm telling to you, because my parents already died. My mother, she died in my lap. I love very much her. And her death project process, of course, if possible, I want to share. Maybe she can upload on me, but she can't. I also cannot take. I used to holding that all. But of course, my root teachers help very well. And after my root teachers make poa, and almost I haven't got nothing kind of suffering. Because maybe she's very lucky. She met this kind of great master. But that is like she needs to deal with his situation. Who can to help? It's obvious. At that moment, maybe if you have some strength in your mind, education you have, some is like strength, you have some proof, self-confidence you have, then that help. That means Dharma can help, teachings, absolutely. When you make familiarities, each steps, there is different experience, how you can to deal with them. And then you, of course, you need to deal, you're alone, but maybe coding your education about the dharmas, then it's maybe more easy. I make joke, this morning says, once in some near Malaysia, Thailand, there is earthquake. In Malaysia, sometimes I'm often going to in the Penang before. And once this tsunami came there, many people died. And one of my friends was there, and he was in the seaside. And then it's like a tsunami, the water hit suddenly. And once hit, he was near, and he thought it's, of course, carry in the mountain. But he thought, maybe I can manage. He's certain to swimming, to run, but impossible. And second wave came, he hit body into the rock. And his body is kind of a little bit powerless. And then it's like singing, and he thought, oh, now I'm going to die. Or how I can to make the power myself. And he started. And then it's like, together we started. And then his wave was going back, and he's a little bit out, and he tried, but someone rescued him. And after I met this person, say, now I really want to practice Poha or something. I understood. Like this is good sign. When you approach in these situations, you know, like a kind of, you can prepare. I heard there is one in Tibet, like a big boss or lorry. In Tibet there's sometimes no boss, like a lorry behind maybe 40, 50 people. They just like a boat, and then the lorry car, sometimes ugly to accidental. Once is like once accident, many people died. And of course when they are ruling the cars, and everywhere's body, and someone is still not died, blooding. And there was one Lama, he's totally injured, but he's a little bit kind of stained, and he is fell, and head is everywhere is like blood, damaged, and then he's just a little to get up and to see it, and he's making power. And maybe he making power to the others, but himself, after the power finished, he's died. But there's many other like normal people, they cannot. Maybe they think in the family, maybe they think still, maybe I'm not going to die. But of course, cars is like crashed. Most of them is very difficult to survive. I think it's almost most of them died. But then the monk or lama there was, and he start a little bit kind of breathe, and to go, oh, now it's my death. And he make it power himself. Or maybe he is also made around. Very lucky. Like this kind of like injured, you need to experience alone. And if you have education, it's a wonderful. But this death process, sufferings, really samsaric defects. And nor is there any way for you to take your positions with you. Absolutely. Death approaches you. It doesn't matter. You are billionaire, trillionaire. You are owner of this world. We cannot take nothing. 1 cent. One like a cloth. We cannot take with us. Everything is needed to be hand there is. However limitless they are, might be, maybe, for example, you have such richness, limitless, maybe money, food, materials. But at that moment, nothing support to you, only pit instructions, only your education into your mind. But that moment, this kind of defect is quite very difficult. You cannot bring yourself to let go of them. And of course, you have very strangeness. Maybe it's like inside your experience, like the approach of the death approaches, such sufferings, turmoil. But also you're thinking your belonging and your family, your friend, and it's like very much difficult to let go of them. You are still holding. If you're holding, you died. It's not very good left to your families. After you died, maybe we don't recognize death. Maybe we become the ghost, like snake eater. We try to go back to home, to talk, to touch families, maybe making more problem them. And therefore, and some in the approach of the death, you need determined. And we need happy. We need to recognize this is the nature, it's samsaric defects. Why we need to think about this life's position? To totally to cut the clingings. Whatever, maybe you have gold one tank, maybe 100 tanks, millions kgs. Who take? We cannot to bring them. We need to. Maybe you have beautiful family to say bye, to be long life, and to say it's like please to give education and to see hope in the next life. There's no need to cling. We need to cut completely and the, clinging and craving things. And maybe if we have some educations in the, like to say, you may be aid to the like kind of the compassionate Buddha and Bodhisattvas. They are like kind of endowment, wisdom, and visions. And also they have such love, compassion. Maybe we aid and to call, to say, help to us. Maybe take refuge. And maybe it's like how I can to manage. And then it's like maybe we need to remember our own pit instructions. And of course we cannot do like this, thinking of our positions. But you cannot keep them either. And they are like we can to ask some families can come, someone can come with me to be a companion in my future journey for the part of the death, part of the like intermediate, part of becomings. Who can come with you? Which kind of things come with you? Of course, that moment we remember, overtake, and we ask ourselves, or you ask yourself. Maybe it's like kind of the remember how much we done negative actions. That time is we remembered that we done, or maybe you have done. Then it's like according this is the cause of the rebirth in the lower alamas. When you're thinking of the sufferings of the lower alamas, like we already investigate, and we checked how much is the sufferings in the lower animals, and very much terrified, and oh, I need to go to there because I've done many negative things. And like kind of the prisoners, and even in this world, in the Westerns, most famous one, Scottish guy, you call the William Willem or William Willems, Braveheart. I watched this film many times, and how many he killed people for the freedoms. Finally, British, they catch him and put in the prison. Of course, definitely they're going to kill him. And of course, this queen comes from French, and she was very much sympathetic and to coming to there. And she says, like, surely you're going to die to kill. And she gives poison, please can drink. And she cried to begging to him. And he said, okay, you are so kind lady, I will drink. But anyway, I'm afraid for death. Even these persons. But finally, of course, he's very brave, and he put the poison here during this lady is there, and lady go back and he put back because he won't die in the middle of the crowd and people. And but then it's like the guardians coming to take, and he's a little shaking. Oh, now I'm going to die. Like this, if we done something negative things, then it's of course we are terrified. He is terrified. Definitely British or England, they don't give him free. And this kind of very brave persons. Sometimes we have some, particularly some boys, I would say many, I'm not sure ladies. When they're doing the negative things, they never care. Even if you ask, please don't do negative things. You are good, you don't need to. They never listen, they never don't believe, they never care. This is kind of religious. They do so much negative things. And then certainly death process start, 100% inside terrified. That's obvious, that's surely. But still, I don't want to show off. And to kind of the keep inside, you keep or not keep, that moment you need to terrify, you need to go to low realms if you done the negative actions. In the beginning there is says, Milarepa says, or there are many lamas quotations, they said, some you see that some evil person's death process. It's amazing kind of teaching to you. You understand that. Then it's like terrifying, they're coming. Death is certainly here. Where is like death process start? Here, there, today, tomorrow, or on the morning, evening, lunch. We don't know. Of course, absolutely awful, but no certainty. Suddenly coming, and we need to go. Dread take hold of the user, and kind of the uncompassionately they take. The perception of the life slip away. There's not a kind of much, and how do you say, it's like this appearance is disappeared. And that moment maybe is like some skillful, compassionate Buddha, Bodhisattvas, teachers, maybe extend, like give me more blessing, compassion, wisdoms, in order to remember your pith instructions. If maybe we can to understand, remember the pith instructions, we can to manage. You know, this is, we can to take examples. When you are like kind of the learning from teacher, any kind of normal education, specific educations, And even if you can do swimmings, you learn from the teacher how to swimming. Maybe it's like this teacher's telling to you, maybe if very well, when you sink or fail into the ocean or some deep, how you can do swimming. And you can teach very well, you learn very well, and some in this situation happened. Maybe you remember how I can do swimming. Even myself, I have this kind of. When I was in Tibet, one person, he fell into the water, river, carried by horse together. And then it's like he's a carrier, he cannot swimming, just like the piece of the wood carrying by water. Like he's like this because he cannot do nothing. But he heard, if you breathe kind of inside, doesn't kind of breathe out in, very kind of take the self-confidence to breathe while maybe, and then stomach is full of air, it's automatically coming out, the water. A little bit coming out, he's quickly to breathe, take the air, and I'm going inside. He did this kind of maybe 1 mile. And then certainly it's like someone see and they rescued him. He saved, but he cannot swim. He was very happy. He heard in this situation. Someone said to him, if you fell into the water, sometimes it's people, why they die inside, you certainly become nervous, and then you want to afraid, maybe you going to, then you are kind of open your mouth and coming through the nose water, you drink a lot of water, then you cannot breathe, and then it's even cannot breathe, you die. And when you have something difficult to swimming, and you just keep breathe, of course you are singing maybe, but doesn't matter. You can to get the kind of strength a little bit, maybe that moment you can come out and to take breath, and you are kind of the dolphins, whales. And I have this kind of situation in Montpellier in France. When I a little swimming, I'm very much alike, and then it's proudly, I can't do swimming. And we was there together. First I made retreat there. And then swimming, there is lot of stone island, many birds. I went there, not very far, 100, 200 meters, I don't know. And then I went there, I have this in the feet, this how to swimming, And then I went there and come back and a little bit maybe separate from this island, still nothing there. Leg is paralyzed. Of course, that time is Matthew or some other there, but very far. Maybe they don't see. They are looking at me, but certainly I'm singing in the water. What can I do? I remember this guy, and then I just see it is going down. But it's okay. There's no shock, no others. And then it's a little bit breathe inside, kind of your body is relaxed, and then it's got, and then it's then I I can little swimming, not the same as this guy. And coming out, I take a little bit big breath, but then it's coming back to my strength. And finally I play it. I saved, and then I can come back. Then almost I'm died like this. This situation is like this. Same way, if you are kind of learn right now, and maybe there is the Guru Rinpoche's pretty instructions of the prados, and maybe also you can to meditate on the natural realities based on power. In the powers, kind of the Dharmakaya power, Namanikaya power, and Sambhogakaya power, and there's 5 types of the powers. It's the best power. It's maintain the natural state. You transferent into your natural state, and then it's the best. You don't need to go through this suffering process. And like this, of course, is the occurring in that moment, and then all these our appearances, these beautiful perceptions of in life slip away, and slowly you go like grows cold, because there's a grow cold means sometimes air and heat, particularly heat go away, and the heat in the air is going together out. And also it's like I heard, when is someone die, you should to touch here, very, very important. If this person's consciousness go through this way, it's the best. Then sometimes heat and air is going down, and slowly this part has become like stone, cold, like kind of reducing the heat, and then slowly go down, and then it's like consciousness go through the tip of leg. It's very bad, they say this, and that means it's going to in the lower animals. And like someone's touching here, maybe it's too shock, and then it's like coming up. Then heat is like start dissolution and the heat. This is happened. I am sometimes a very funny guy. Sometimes go to the dead person, dying person making power. That time I need to check. And for example, someone is entered in the knee and down this leg, absolutely dead, no warmth. Like you touch that moment, it's like cold stone, not a human body. And the part still there is element strength, it's like a human, normal. Then it's going up, then it's cold going, and then slow. Sometimes it's like people really strength, like strength is coming from here, and also maybe sometimes go consciousness from air, nose, eye. But best is going through this, like we have on the nail in here. There is a special hole, and like this, and this kind of situation. That means it's like heat, warmth, slow. That means external dissolution. 5 element dissolved. Heat element dissolved into the fire. Water element, like liquid element, dissolve into the water, and like a body, flesh, strength element dissolve into the earth, and of course consciousness sometimes then finally last moment dissolve into the space. This like this, then losing. Then after we died, the body is normal, like kind of the materials, like earth, rock. And whatever they do, someone's burn, someone eat, they put under the ground, doesn't matter. But this kind of process, one is on an evil door, dies. Like some is like a killer, murder, and like kind of the evil persons died, like kind of the clutched at his breast. Because this kind of evil persons remember the negative actions. Maybe sometimes, last time I told you, some evil person to killing, disturb to others, that moment imaginations coming. And there's so much scaring and making the kind of batting into their own chest. And then there's full of the marker of like this kind of covering his skin with the marks of his fingernails, absolutely. Remembering all his evil actions, what this person's done. He is the terrified, frightened of the being reborn in the lower animals. Surely this kind of, and think, as I say, it's like a brave heart. He thinks, surely they don't give me freedom, they're going to kill me. I'm afraid. Like exactly. Sometimes people say, life is enjoyed. To do negative things, their pleasures. But death process start, they are such a suffering, 100%, but they can keep like that. But then it's okay. And like inside, when we are suffering, this person's sufferings, In reality, this person's business, and who can to share it? And do you love yourself? Do you want to take care of yourself? That moment, you haven't got any faith, devotion to Buddha. You never ever listened, follow up any spiritual friend. You never have any instructions. You don't believe any at all. And also it's maybe you create a lot of negative things. Maybe it's like some atheists. Maybe you are not, of course, don't believe any causalities, but normally you are a good person. Maybe also there's one point. But some persons is like all the times hurting, killing, disturb to others. And someone say take care. Maybe it's like one day is you have problems, they don't care. The problem in the death process. Now they see like this kind of situations. Then it's like terrifies. They realize that what they done is very difficult to forget it. He's filled with the regret at not having practiced. What I done negative things, I never practiced the Dharma while he had the freedom to do so. You know, it's like kind of, we say it's like, I have education, Dharma, even I'm a mother's womb. And when I come out from the mother's womb, at that moment, I have notion of the death. But I didn't do nothing, I didn't prepare nothing. Only thinking which would have been useful. At the moment of the death, there's nothing kind of useful things we done for the death. And never is like done any kind of positive things. And then death process start. Which kind of we have there is to support for the moment of the death. When he or she realizes that they feel tremendous pain, terrified, suffering, panic. That is why the breast is the beast his breast and cover it with the marks of his nail as the dice. And he said, which is quotation is, I forgot it, this one, maybe just in Malaripa or can you check? It says, watch on evil, man dies. And human being die, maybe we can to say. He is a teacher demonstrating to us the effect of the actions. Effect of the actions. This is like kind of the demonstration to us of the causalities, you can to say. The evil persons, they've maybe done a lot of negative things, and just their death approaches, he remembered surely going to Lord Alamos, terrified, afraid. He cannot extend, he cannot escape, going to die. Of course, next destinations, unpleasant. And then it's like a kind of the showing very, very strange. Some evil says, I can't die. Maybe someone can extend my death, postpone my death. Who can to postpone? Who can to extend our death? And then it's terrified. This we can to see like this. It is like kind of how it is the causalities. Even before he's dead, the Lord Alama start to close on himself, this person. Of course, when it's like a beginning, the death approaches, start panic, terrified, almost at the same situation, the health. And then, of course, more worse things. He has many experience, negative things, influence. He has a lot of bad hallucinations. And also it's like physically pain, mentally. It's almost not died, not reborn in the lower element, but situation is the same as like this. Whatever he perceive become the menacing. It's a very terrifying thing. It is like kind of the really physically problems and mentally problems. Whatever you are dream during the day, appearances, perception is changed. Very much kind of terrified things, menacing. All these sensations cause him to the very much sufferings. And also it's like the element of his body. Now, why? Okay, a little bit questions. But I'm going to continue a little bit, okay? The element of this body dissolved, his breath become hoarse. Like this. It's really its truth. And like I heard many times when I make pause or something, and it's like a kind of something in the between here. Maybe if you want to take out, there's nothing. This is kind of the death approach. And his limbs, like a kind of his limbs go limps. Like this. Do you understand? Limps go limps means, and this suffering. Sometimes when it's animals, some hunters shot, and before die they are kind of limps go limps, mean like kind of moving their limbs. And also he started hallucinations. His eye roll up like this, terrified. And that moment in the eyes, in the heart, mind is like kind of all the universe is turning round and collapsed. How we come to have the turmoils. It is like something is aeroplane's turmoil, nothing. Word is like kind of shaking turmoils, nothing. Your whole individual universe is collapsed. Of course, your eyes roll up. And as the past beyond this life, we need to go to in these lives. We are like kind of the living from this life. The Lord of Death comes to meet we are. And of course, the approach of the intermediate state appear. But one is like after the death, we died. During the pardo of the death or during the dissolution, death process, externally dissolution, inner dissolution, secret dissolutions. Secret dissolution is finished, we separate body and mind. Then there is a process to appear the intermediate pardos appearances. That means we haven't got any structure, pit instruction, introduction, how to recognize. And then it's done to be remembers, but has no protect for the refugees. And this kind of the appearances is coming because it's like we don't recognize, we don't remember pre-instructions. Even like Buddha, Bodhisattvas appear the front, we can't recognize. Maybe we recognize something different. And that moment, maybe if we can to recognize, maybe we can to make liberation. We have source of refuge. But not, we don't recognize such terrified things. Then there is like kind of the no protector, no source of the refugees. There's no guardians at all. That our moment to live this life, there's a kind of nothing to kind of the, not like kind of guardian, or is the guarantees. there's no guarantees at all. And then it's like we need to naked and empty hand. And we need to leave. Well, we are not come for the today. That means these situations occurring today, tomorrow, next month, next year, who knows? And this kind of like who can to give to guarantees. And of course, that moment we live this life, whatever we have appearances. When that happened, the only thing that will truly help us is the Dharma, pit instructions. There is the kind of the Indians examples. There is no other refuge, it is said. In your mother's want, turn your mind to the Dharma. Even in your mother's want, you want to kind of the practice Dharma. As soon as you are born, remember the Dharma for the death, but you never practice until you die. And then it's too late, and death approaches. Since death comes too suddenly, to young as well as old, we ought to have started practicing the Dharma from the very moment of the birth. Of course, we understood when we are just born in this world, we understood we need Dharma for the death process, but we never practice. For only Dharma will help us at the moment of the death. But we never practice. In our lives, very much busy, but up to now, we have forgotten about death, Dharma, teaching, teacher, Buddha teachings. Being too busy overcoming our adversaries, how I can to be winner, how I become the victorious to defeat my enemies, overcoming and helping out the friends, taking care of my house, family, friends, and of course included positions. Accompanying ourselves with friends and families. Occupying in our body, verb, mind, everything concerning our family, friend, how I can take care of them, where my families live, in the big city of Belgium. Sometimes we go to the Bendy chocolate shop, buy sometimes Bendy chocolate, we eat a lot. Every day we forgot the Dharma. Certainly death process start. We have only thinking about chocolate. Maybe after we die, immediately reborn some chocolate factories, emerged into this liquid of the chocolate. Difficult to coming out. Whole life occupied ourselves with chocolate, with deceptive friend, very much selfish families. In order to take care to them, we did many negative things. Pass our times like that, stepped in attachment, ignorant, hated for the sake of the friend and loved ones. Oh, I will buy for you coral. I go in the sea. Oh, you need a peel. I will kill oysters. I make business in order to get for you food, clothes, everything. And someone say to my friend, families, very bad, I want to kill them. Oh, they disturb to me, my family. We want to destroy. All to this kind of the task, arrangements. And then there is such turmoil of the attachment, ignorant, hatred, totally occupied our mind. That is a great mistake. Sorry. Okay. Then, would you like 2 questions? Ask questions.
Thank you, Rinpoche. We will start with yesterday's questions. The first one is divided in 3 questions by Maria Luisa. She asks, first, can we benefit hungry ghosts by dedicating leftovers after meals, even if we throw it to the bin?
Yes, very good, Maria Luisa. And yesterday we talked about not only the food left over, even your food you make ganachuk puja in your stomach, something left over is coming from some in your body. Even you are generate bodhicitta, if you dedicate, some hungry ghost can to received. Okay, answer.
Thank you. Second question. If realms are mainly self-appearances, how much can we help beings with our own contaminated compassion? Help beings with our contaminated compassion.
Yeah, contaminated compassions cannot help. First, we need to make incontaminated compassion. Then we can do help. That you know very well. And incontaminated, this is very difficult. That answer.
Thank you. She asks, enlightened beings cannot purify our karma, but they can help with karmic circumstances to favor purification.
Monkeys touching all the time this. Okay, I forgot it. Just read, you don't need.
Enlightened beings cannot purify our karma, but can they help with karmic circumstances to favor purification?
Yes. When you put seed into the ground, sunlight cannot help in order to grow up. Grow up. Seed itself to grow up. But sun can give it like circumstances to help, then the seed grow up. But what is the grow up seed itself? Like this, samsaric sentient beings, Buddha and Bodhisattvas help me teaching, give some luminosity of the teaching advice. If you're serious to take that on you, then it's help very much. But you need to be to kind of the maturate. It's like kind of yourself. Your maturation is how is the luminosity of the Buddhas. If Buddha has this strength, Bodhisattvas, enlightened, they need to do something now. But they give such conditions like this. Okay, Maria Luisa.
Thank you. Then Alexei Shapovalov from Russia asks, thank you so much for your kindness, Rinpoche. My question is concerning today's empowerment by His Holiness. The Samaya is meditation on emptiness and bodhicitta. Could you please recommend a kind of step-by-step guide to this kind of meditation? Thank you so much.
Yes, Holiness, we are very lucky in Dharma City. Everybody we attended, we are very happy. Most I heard students you attended, so wonderful, because it's like he is the really living Buddha and a wonderful example of the Buddhist masters, Buddha's representative. Surely we received. Of course, when we receive the Mantrayana's empowerment, there are some certain samayas, and how we can to keep samayas.
No, the samaya is meditation on emptiness and bodhicitta. Could you recommend a step-by-step guide to this kind of meditation?
Yes, and also to samaya, meditate on the compassion and emptiness. He said it's like the view of the supreme emptiness, and meditate is like develop the compassion. That is right. And maybe it's you can to learn step by step, maybe every day, to like what we are now studying, and more analyze the other sentient being situation, then your compassion's developed. And sometimes to read Heart Sutta, how it is the materials, existent or not existence. And sometimes you can cook to get really transparent emptiness. You have this kind of feeling occur into your mind, you can to develop the step by step, then it's good to keep some.
Thank you. Daria asks, Rinpoche, if I am alive until old age, one of my fears is to have mental problems like dementia, Alzheimer's, and so on. Could Dharma practice, particularly meditation, help to avoid such old age sickness, or it depends on genetics, lifestyle, or other karmic conditions?
Of course, Dharma can help. If you kind of the massage your wisdom, develop your compassion, and purified your obscurations, surely you never have like this enter you die. And even sometimes you are like completely not purified, some cursed, but mentally maybe it's okay, no problem.
Thank you. Sojo asks, Dear Rinpoche, could you explain, please, how to distinguish perfect, effortless, non-meditation from stupid, lazy, not meditating? How to apply the first and how to avoid the second?
Follow up. Qualified teacher obey whatever teacher says. Don't follow the crazy teacher like same as me. And you follow very well, listen to very well, then it's like easily you receive pity instruction of spontaneous or effortless. And if you without learning, you're just imitating, maybe according you're lazy and expectations. You don't want to learn, you don't want to listen, you don't want to obey and the teachers. I don't know you can to do this practice. Step by step if you want, yes, we will to study.
Thank you. Helen Galushko asks Rinpoche, why is the plant world not included in the classification of worlds, but plants are present everywhere in rituals and tankas?
Rituals and tankas. In the Tibetan artists, they paint tankas, extraordinary, unimagined. This system comes from very special Mahasads. There's two traditions, Tsulu and Mulu. And this inside the imagine of the human beings, extraordinary, more faces Indias. Not Tibetan, not Chinese, not Malaysia, not Vietnamese, not Japanese, not any other Buddhist countries. Only this face looks like India's. Most there's tankas deities wearing. Of course, there's one cloth, it's a monk cloth, but it's not really. It's India's cloth. And also the landscapes is extraordinary. There is some trees, meadow, jungle, extreme nice flower. Then it's like, why they write like this? Maybe as according to your question, someone said, there's a big reason. Why we need to painting tankas? Burn it your hand. And it's not fun. It's not a kind of decoration. And it was like kind of some beginning meditators. And someone is the first to meditate on the characteristic meditations. That time is they need to something into the holding into the mind. Not a flower, not a flow, not ceiling, not a candle, not a candle later. Maybe they need some imagine, representative the Buddha's body, verb, mind. And then it's like maybe you look at some strange Buddha's representative bodies and speech mind. Maybe you think, Buddha has some effect. Maybe Buddha is something, enlightened beings. And not like this. Some is like kind of we call the karma gadi. Very, very precise, very spacious. When it's meditated, look that to holding into your mind. It's a very extraordinary. I need to be in this landscape. It's wonderful. It's a representative of the Pure Land. And all there is like kind of the animals, in the Pure Land's animals. And also it's like those animals maybe can to speak human language. You go to there, they're making sounding of the Dharma. They are never fighting, they are never like, it's a representative of the Pure Land. And then whoever inside there's an image of the human beings, very extraordinary, peace, calm, handsome, beautiful, and nice clothing. This is the representative of the enlightenment. When for the beginners, yeah, that is the really enlightened like this. This is a kind of go beyond them. It's our appearances. You thinking like this, then slowly you have a nice image of the Buddha and deities. Then slowly, more close. Maybe you manage your mind. You become the more master your mind. You give more education to your mind. Then its mind is more approach, and you are like kind of the things are that received something sameness. And like kind of you have the realization of the great equanimities, the nature's reality perspective. And that moment, there is such a dissolution stage. Maybe you can to disappear. That moment you can to exercise. You look the ugly tonka. It's like awful things. You know, sometimes we have this kind of painting. Like tears here, mouth is here, and ugly these things. You haven't got any hesitate, any kind of strange things. You see the nice picture as the Tibet Thangkas, nothing attachment. Your mind is free from, your mind is become free from touch aversions. Then you don't need to any Thangkas. And your mind is become the advantageous. And then it's like, therefore this Thangkas is the representative for the beginner, how to meditate on the Buddha's Buddhas and good night.
Thank you. Dima Dolchenko asks from yesterday.
Dingo.
Dima. Mm-hmm. Today, His Holiness Dalai Lama said, "Teach others, share this knowledge with others." My question, how can we teach? We're not lamas, we're not teachers, we can damage others. What is the way for us, ordinary people? How can we share our experience, our knowledge with others? I'm afraid my stupidity can make damage to others because of not having pure view, etc.
Yes, Dingo. You want to become quickly teacher. You want to teach to Dharma others. Yes, but to teach to other people is you should to be purified your mind. You need to study. You need to kind of the purified, and to become the Dharma teachers. First time is this person itself to have a good education, how much to develop compassion, how much you massage wisdoms, how much you have knowledge. And these modern days, like me, me, probably also you, want to teach to Dharma. Who want to listen to me? I will teach you. And then it's like someone says, how you can to teach? Look at yourself. You are externally, inside, nothing to change. And worse than the before. And then you say, I have knowledge of Dharma, and you listen to me that I will teach. Nobody's listened. Exactly, you are right, maybe damage. Therefore, probably I'm more and more going to close. Don't want to go. I don't want to teach. More and more hesitations. You are right. You give me today is nice things, questions. Better to shut up and to look at my own kind of defects. It's like to teach you to the Dharma. This teacher is we talking about qualifier. 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 Do you understand? Of course, in the modern, maybe I'm sorry, but you are also okay. Many people say, won't teach Dharma. I want to become quickly a Dharma teacher. Dharma teachers. Of course, someone's also advertised. I studied from this and that. I have like kind of the, education, this. I should to teach. In Denmark, there's one person. One in the world, there's human realms. There's one person. He said it's like, I can to teach Buddha Avatar. I can teach the word of my perfect teachers. And some in his Song of Dharma, they don't want to listen to nothing at all. He's suffering person. He or she, I don't know. And then one day, he told neighborhood. And he's like acting of the lamas, or he, this person's, and like them. And the neighborhood, very much curiosities came knocking door. Are you Buddhist? Yes. We are very interested. Can you teach us like some Dharma? He was, yes, absolutely, no problem. When? Whenever you have time. And they said, which kind of book are you studying? Yes, a very famous book, the Patrul Rinpoche's book, called the Konzon Lam Shalons. Okay, thanks. He bought 2 books and give present, and then he said, I will teach you. Okay. Then they listened during the 1 month. And after 1 month, they brought the books. Today we want to give you your book back. And you are a very, very strange person. I never met our life. We never come again to you. We don't need this kind of teaching, sorry. Bye-bye. This is Buddhist. Never come. And he said, no, I'm telling you Dharma. Say bye-bye. Completely broke their heart. And no interest afterward, never coming. Sometimes your mouth is not shut up, like same as me. It's urging, want to teach Dharma others, but taking care. Someone says, like even the Dharma brothers, sisters, say, I want to teach Dharma to my family. If you want to teach the Dharma to your families, you should change your behaviors. How we can teach Dharma to others? We change our defects, characteristic, nature, according to compassion, wisdom, Buddha's teachings. We really to like kind of the silent teaching, symbolic teaching of the Buddhists. And you become very kind. You change your characteristics. You become more precise, more compassionate. Then that is the best teaching. Both ours are going to shut up. Okay, that's answer. But now, before to be shut up, we need to drink coffee and tea. And then we are follow the shut-upism.